Hello YouTube, Infinite Magicraid community, Gandalf here. So, the War of Thrones is here, the big long-awaited PvP update of 2024, at least the first part of the year, is finally here. Um, Looks like it's a multi-day event, and as you progress through, more teams will be unlocked. You do seem It looks as if you have to set up your teams now, and if you don't set it up now, I hope everyone go in there and set up their teams now. Please set it up in a way that's most optimal for all of the teams right now. I don't know if at this point we're allowed to change it throughout the 10 days, but it seems like as we unlock to different levels, we will be using the teams to battle out. Every day, depending on how well you're scoring from a point, you will unlock new brackets. And what's really cool is there's going to be PvP battle effects. So for example, for every epic aura equipped, increase damage by 4%. For every legend aura, increase by 10%. If it's equipped by epic aura, increase all allies cap for every 1 star of the aura, and for every ally equipped with legendary. So this is saying, hey, quickly get your legendary auras on and have a lot of legendary aura stars. So further buffing your entire team. But when you do these lineups, there's also, and I haven't done my lineups yet. I'm gonna do them later today, but they have thrown an interesting spin on it. There are 6 different buffs. You can only pick one each. Um, with the different teams. And I'll give you some ideas for some of them. Uh, for example, the first one, okay, reduce all allies damage dealt by 75%. At the end of the ally's turn, increase their damage dealt by 15% up to 10 times. So it's sort of like you can do 150% extra damage. So for example, a slow ramp up team. So for example, if I'm building a tank team, I can actually afford to build out a team like this. I don't need to do damage up front. I just need to survive, and if I can't be killed, eventually I'm going to be doing a ton of damage, and I will win the battle. The second one is Sacrifice the Dead. So the ally with the lowest speed dies immediately, but all the allies' damage increase will be by 35%. So if you can run a 4-man speed nuke team, so for example, something like this, right, where I can definitely go first and need a cleaves, I can actually run a hero with very low speed and dies on the first turn. So, for example, Popper can explode and on death and do a lot of damage. So why don't I build a super strong Popper with no speed and just have a ton of attack and mastery? Like that's a way of doing it. There's a few other heroes that have interesting on death effects. For example, um, if Elza dies, your entire team gets immortality. If uh, Rumble dies, you do a AoE freeze on the enemy, right? So there's a few interesting uh, ones you can put with that team there. So it allows you to have new strategies around these teams. Next one is Last Stand. So increase allies attack by 20%, but lose 50% of their max HP upon entering the battle. So again, this is one of those first turn teams. If you're going for sort of like a glass cannon first turn team, maybe a control heavy team, that's worth it, right? Like I'm gonna go first anyways. You're not gonna get a turn, so maybe a full control team will benefit from a buff like Last Stand. Like if I do a full control team, right? Like I think some of you saw something like this, where I put in like a Santa. Uh, where's my Santa? Uh, yeah, I put in a Santa here, and I put in something like Jingle Bell, right? Like that's one of my teams. So a team like this, my opponent's never gonna move. I can actually run Last Stand with it. Like I'm just gonna start with less HP, fine. I'm just gonna straight out, CC you. This also works with, a cleave speed cleave team. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go first, right? Next one, Rugged Tenacity. So increase allies defense resistance by 75, and the end of allies turns reduce damage resistance by 5% to 0 at most. So this is sort of like start with being super tanky, but then not so tanky anymore. Like I could see this playing out like maybe, sort of a moderate tanky second turn team. So something that allows you to cleanse. So for example, if I run a panda team, that doesn't have to be super tanky. So something like Space Panda, right, is a good example where I can run that team because it would not naturally have that tankiness, but with 75% damage reduction, you won't be killed, right? So then that allows you to cleanse and then take the second turn advantage. So a Space Panda team works really well with this buff. Um, this one's just super weird. Okay, reduce the damage dealt by 50%, but HP cap will increase by 50%. Like, I can't see how this works well because if your HP scaling, it actually just straight out doesn't work because reducing your damage by 50%, HP cap increase by 50% is not worth it. So, like, this is just a really bad buff. Like, I'd rather not have this buff than have this buff. So I will avoid this one and not use it. Fake revive. After an ally dies, the ally will revive with 100% HP at the beginning of the next one's turn and gain 30% turn meter. All the allies will be slayed when this effect is triggered for the fifth time. So this is actually a really strong one. I mean, by the time you get killed 5 times, you deserve to lose your team at that point, right? So, but this is kind of giving your team some extra survivability. So you can also do this with your speed cleave team. Just avoid this one. All the other five are kind of usable, and I think they do benefit your team um, in some sort of setup. So there you guys have it. My early thoughts on this content. Hopefully everyone do really well. I'll be doing daily updates on this throughout this month. I know I've been not posting content for a while. I've been working probably from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 at night. Has been really busy with work recently. So hopefully, I will be able to post some footage of this content. And best of luck to everyone on War of Thrones. Gandalf out.